Today, let's talk about how to experiment with an eating window and what happens if you screw up for a day. Because I get that question all the time. I'm Jackie Elmer. I'm a holistic integrative nutrition coach, and I'm here to help you master the skill and the beauty of intermittent fasting. Now, again, the question I'm asked all the time, what happens if I screw up for a day? I'm going along great, everything's going fine, and then I have that day where I get up, I eat a sloppy breakfast, I start day drinking at 2, and then I trash that with, a big plate of nachos and, have a 14-hour eating window or something like that. Well, I want you to watch this because here's what you're going to do. You're just going to shrug and say, oh, well, I'm human. You have not undone every good turn that you've accomplished so far in this journey. You aren't destined for failure. You're just human like the rest of us. And here's the beauty of intermittent fasting. You can't get it wrong or mess it up. It's not a diet, and nothing is absolutely carved in stone. If you do a 12-12 one day and then an 8-16 the next, kind of like I mentioned, that's okay. Maybe you're only going to do intermittent fasting 2 days a week. That is still great for your body. What you have to do is begin to experiment with your different eating windows and figure out what works for you. Now, mine is constantly shifting. In my intermittent fasting, the myths, the magic, and the methods, I absolutely go through that with my clients and teach them what's worked for me, how I started, where I hit my plateaus, where I've had my best successes, and what's worked for me individually by hacking my own body. And that's what I help my clients do, because what works for me is not necessarily going to be the same thing that works for you. But in the broad scope of things, we know that intermittent fasting really truly does work for just about everybody. But you've got to figure out what's going to be right for you. Now, for a faster and more permanent solution to your challenges, which may include weight, resistant weight, that stubborn belly fat, sleep, or sleep challenges. All of a sudden, you're waking up in the middle of the night, or maybe you have a hard time going to sleep. Maybe you've been diagnosed as pre-diabetic, or maybe you're actually already diabetic. So in that case, let's start with a daily goal of 12 and 12. 12 hours of fasting, okay? So nothing but water, black coffee, or black tea. No zero sweeteners or any of that, just strictly what I said. And then over time, you can begin to increase it. So that's the 12-hour fasting and then the 12-hour time-specific eating window. Through that, you want to work on your mental conditioning and that thought work that you do, and then begin to move yourself toward a goal of, say, 16 and 8 as your end goal. An 8-hour eating window. So that might mean that you start at 6 in the morning and end at 2 in the afternoon. That might mean that you start at 8 in the morning and end at 4 in the afternoon. Or maybe you're going to start at 10 in the morning and end at 6 in the evening. You do you. You know what's going to work best for you. But you figure out what that end goal is. And as you begin to do that, just mix things up a little bit. Start with your 12 and 12, then go to a 14-10, then try a 16-8, and then get really bold and try an 18-6, or maybe even go for that 24-hour fasting window. So begin to track and hack your own body. Make note of how you feel. Make note of any changes that you feel or experience in your body. You're tracking your weight, hopefully, maybe only once a week. You don't want to get too dialed in on that because especially in the early days, we know that the number on the scale doesn't necessarily accurately depict what's going on within your body, how you're shifting up your metabolism and how you're changing your body's reaction to food and glucose and insulin releasing and resistance and all that good stuff. So over time, through the way that you feel, the way your clothes fit, and all of that, that's going to ultimately be a better picture teller for you, storyteller, than necessarily the number on the scale. So track and write out what it is you experience. Now, if you want a coach and some accountability, I would love to have you join me in my intermittent fasting, the myths, the magic, and the methods program. You can go to if.highaltitudehabits.com. I'll have a link below. join me over there, join the group, get some coaching, get some accountability, and really put yourself on that trajectory of success for you with your intermittent fasting routine. I'm Jackie Elmer, peakperformancehabits.com, and I look forward to cheering on your success in this journey.